Hello and thank you for joining us here at the First Alert Desk. It is National Diabetes Month, which means we gotta talk about your health. A lot of people are starting up their New Year's resolutions a little early and headed back to the gym, according to a recent survey. And that means a lot more people are watching their diet a little better and making sure that they're taking care of themselves ahead of the holidays. We wanna make sure we help you address an important health factor, and that is your blood sugar levels. Joining us today is Dr. Ken Redcross, or as we like to call him, Dr. Ken. He's going to break down some not so obvious signs of high blood pressure, or high blood sugar levels, and what you should do to make sure that you are good to go when that turkey rolls around. Dr. Ken, thank you so much for joining us. I always appreciate your time, but you are my expert here. You are my expert here. Let's get into the beginning of this. What is blood sugar levels? What do they mean?
So look, everyone, this is the perfect time to talk about this, Maria, because we are talking about blood sugar, but everyone typically thinks about diabetes. But what else comes with elevated blood sugar? Heart attacks, stroke, blindness, kidney disease. So look, this is a perfect time for us to be talking about this with Halloween past us, Thanksgiving coming, and Christmas as well. So let's make sure that we are aware of some of these kind of symptoms and signs that we kind of blow off as normal, but they really aren't.
Now, blood sugar, when I think of that word, and I did a little research myself so I could sound like I know what I'm talking about, that does make me think, if I eat a lot of sugar, I'm just going to spike my blood sugar levels. So the easy solution is just not to eat a lot of sugar, but it's a little more than that.
Well, it really is. That's a common misconception, and I'm glad you brought that up because look, everyone, you cannot give yourself diabetes. Your body should be able to regulate blood sugar no matter how much you have with insulin. It's only when it's out of whack, when there's certain challenges, when your body doesn't maintain perfect sugar balance, that you get into challenges. So you cannot give yourself diabetes, but it is important to watch how much sugar you're getting for whether it's weight gain and some of the other things I mentioned, or that you mentioned, high blood pressure and that sort of thing. So you can't give it to yourself, but it is important to be mindful of it so that we don't necessarily put ourselves at risk.
And you made it really easy. You broke this down into like the top 4 signs that are easily missed. And some of them I noticed in myself and are some symptoms that could be very easily connected to high blood sugar.
They really can. So let me give them to you first. So everyone, it's fatigue, increased urination, increased thirst, and blurred vision. So like you mentioned, Maria, these are things that we can kind of blow off here and there, but the fatigue is the one that I see commonly in practice. About 30% of my visits are due to fatigue, but fatigue from elevated blood sugar or maybe diabetes is very different. It's kind of a stuck in the mud sort of feeling. It's not normal. Even when you get home, you're just fully exhausted. So there's a lot of things that go around with the fatigue with elevated blood sugar, but you have to know your body. You have to be mindful of the importance of knowing your blood sugar and making sure that you stay on top of things.
Now, at what point does a high blood sugar get dangerous? I'm sure we all experience spikes, but at what point should it be a cause for concern? All right, I'm going to call my doctor now.
Well, look, it's tough because a lot of you out there obviously don't have blood sugar monitors. But what happens is that if you go to your doctor and if you're fasting, that magic number is 126. So if your number is 126 or higher, that's diabetes. But let's say you go to the doctor and you didn't know you were going to get a blood test. That number becomes 200 that you realize, called a random blood sugar. So my point is, even if you're not necessarily getting that glucometer, we call it, to measure your sugar because you don't know, there's 90 million of you out there either listening or watching that have no idea that your blood sugar is elevated. That's why it's important for us to have this talk and get on the phone with your doctor and say, hey, I heard this doc talking about it online. What do you think? Maybe I should come in and get checked.
And this isn't something that discriminates by age. Everybody can have high blood sugar, but we do want to watch out for older Americans or people within a certain age group, especially as the holidays roll around and you have, time where you're spending with your family and your grandparents. How can young people or really anybody watch out for their family members who may have problems with their blood sugar?
Well, look, it's cool and great shows like this actually when we come on and we discuss them. We bring them to the forefront. And you're right, it doesn't discriminate. And also, I will say there is an increased spike in minorities, tends to be Black, a Latino, or a Native American for a myriad of different reasons. But this is a talk that we all need to have because look, this is something that we can treat on our own. Type 1 diabetes is a little bit difficult because that's more of an autoimmune disease, but type 2, which is 90% of the types of diabetes that we see, we could treat ourselves. We can heal thyself. We just have to really be mindful of some of those things and really make sure that we decide we're going to face it head on.
And I think I was reading earlier, this all comes down to managing your insulin levels. So those
Yeah.
people that are trying to get a little bit of a workout and diet going before the holidays roll around, they could also be causing more harm than good with a certain program, like if they're restricting their diets. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so look, everyone. So let's think about it this way. Now, I'm a big fitness enthusiast besides being a physician as well. So I talk about this a lot. So there's a few things. Number one, exercise is the key, especially when you're dealing with blood sugar. Why? Because exercise has been shown not only to decrease the sugar, but also increase the insulin sensitivity of the receptor, which is what we want because we want insulin to drive that sugar in. The other thing is, think about some of the things, some of the herbs and spices that are of good benefit to help balance your sugar, such as cinnamon. Another bark that you may not know of, berberine. Berberine I love because berberine has been shown not only to decrease your blood sugar, but also help with that ugly cholesterol, that LDL cholesterol as well. And so these are things that can help to support your sugar that I want you, once again, to educate yourself on and really think about what you're going to do to really curb that ability or getting that blood sugar elevated. How can we do it?
And are there any online resources or a way that people can find more information in person or in their community to get to know what their blood sugar levels might be and ways to manage it better?
You know, there are. Number one, I always talk a lot about that relationship with your doctor, that bond. That's like my brand, everyone. I'm loving doing this because today all of you are my patients, so I'm loving it. So yes, so you can obviously go to the American Diabetes Association. For those who are not diabetics, they still have good information with the berberine that I mentioned, or cinnamon and some of those things that are a little closer to the earth. Make sure you understand where your supplements are coming from. People ask me, I love Healthy Directions. What is your choice? Where are you getting your supplements and seeing what you can do to help balance it, especially if you don't have diabetes right now. The last thing I will say, I do want you to curb your artificial sweeteners as well. It's a big thing in our diets here in America, Maria, and so we want to get rid of those things as well.
We're going to go all sugar, no artificial sweetener.
Look, well, a little bit. Look, the two most natural forms of sugar, which is the only thing I do every day, everyone. If you see me out somewhere at a restaurant, come and look for yourself. But it's maple syrup or honey. That's it.
I do love those.
Yeah, exactly. So those are the only natural sources. So I try not to use any white sugar or anything that's from the outside.
This has been fantastic advice and something that everybody can apply into their life. I do appreciate your time and expertise, Dr. Ken. Of course, this full interview and more resources, especially if you have someone with diabetes in your life, are going to be on our website, atlantanewsfirst.com. Thank you so much.
Oh, thanks for having me on. Stay well, everybody.